For artists who are looking to make long-term sustainable careers in the modern industry, there's now so many more ways and opportunities that smaller artists can actually make money from their music. Although it's definitely a lot harder to make a substantial income during the earlier stages of your independent music career, it's definitely possible. It's just a matter of knowing about and then tapping into as many revenue streams as possible. As long as you're willing to diversify the skill set that you already have, and then you're willing to kind of work out and work on a few different strategies, you'll find out that you can make some actual serious returns on a number of different types of revenue streams. And there's no better way of maximizing the money you make from music than by capitalizing on both your musical talent as well as your unique expertise and your skill set as a musician. So today we'll be discussing a list of 10 revenue streams that collectively combine the majority of any artist's income, and to show you how you can make music a financially viable career, and even at that early emerging stage. But before we officially start the video, make sure you like, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you do not miss a single video. We've also got a free 30-day trial available right now at Ditto Music. That means you can release unlimited music to every platform worldwide free for a whole month. Hit the link down below in the description to find out a little bit more. And don't forget that you can leave questions and comments down below, and we'll be in the comment section getting back to as many as we can. So let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, streaming royalties. So probably the number one and most common way to make money as a musician is literally selling your music online. So when you release on big major platforms like Spotify, Amazon, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, and so on, you'll generate money through what are known as streaming royalties. Streaming royalties, also known as a form of mechanical royalties, is the money that's owed to you every time your track is streamed or downloaded. And this will be on any service or any digital platform. And the money you make from streaming royalties won't necessarily be big figures straight away, but they do have strong potential of adding up over time, especially when you start to become more well known and your followers and your monthly listeners start to grow, which therefore makes streaming royalties a very regular income stream for a lot of artists. New, old, big or even small. But when you release with Ditto Music, you actually get to keep 100% of all your streaming royalties that are owed to you. Plus you'll be able to access insights and analytics all about your streaming numbers. You'll be able to find out exactly which platforms and which of the majority your streaming revenue is coming from. Distributing your music online not only acts as a platform for listeners to discover and listen to your music, but it also means that they'll be likely to go one step further, which means either buying tickets for a show or perhaps buying some merch from your website, which indirectly makes streaming an even more lucrative income in the long run. So the next one is music publishing. And this is another one of the most important sources as a musician for you to be aware of when you are creating music and releasing music. It's so important to understand and know the money that you can make through music publishing. There's a lot to know about how music publishing works, but if you want to make sure that you're getting all the kinds of royalties that are rightfully owed to you, then it's so important to make sure that you make it your business to understand and learn about it. And I mean, we've got a whole video all about music publishing and how it works if you want to dive into it and get a little bit more understanding. But for now, we're going to look at music publishing in its broadest sense. As a form of IP, intellectual property, music compositions and recordings all come with a set of rights. That means when organizations such as radio stations, streaming sites, and venues want to use a piece of this property, they're actually required to pay an annual license. So from this license, two main royalties are distributed. Mechanical royalties, which is money owed to you anytime that your music is streamed, downloaded, or reproduced in a physical sense, like CDs, even tapes and vinyls. And then there's performance royalties, which is money owed to you anytime your song is played on radio, TV, in a venue, or performed live. As the owner of the work, it's usually the artist who's entitled to the money generated from the royalties. But trying to collect all of these royalties can get a little bit tricky and a bit tedious, which is why most artists, bands, and musicians tend to sign up with a music publisher that will do the process for them. And if you're thinking about it and you're not already with a music publisher, then make sure you check out Ditto Music Publishing and see how they can claim back all of the publishing royalties owed to you. And just like usual, in the description down below, there's a link to Ditto Music Publishing services. And we've mentioned this one's merchandise. Manufacturing and selling your own merchandise is another popular way that musicians, independent musicians, can really earn a solid income over time. Designing and creating your own merch can actually be relatively cheap as long as you know where to source it and where to look. And the return you can make from selling merch at live gigs or concerts can subsidize any concert expenses or even venue hire. And when you're designing your merch line, it's so important to make some higher end price points and some lower end price points. For bigger things like t-shirts and hoodies, and also smaller things like badges, stickers, and even key rings. This way it's more accessible to all fans and all audiences of all different budgets. And that way people can still invest, but they don't necessarily have to break the bank investing into an artist they just discovered. Realistically, there's no perfect or right time to start investing your money into merchandise. It all depends on the way you want to invest your money and how worthwhile you'll think the profit or the return will actually be. But generally speaking, once you start to perform and have gigs and shows, then you'll have a place where you can physically sell things to real life fans and regular gig goers. But don't forget about the internet and make sure you have a website or some kind of Shopify or big cartel where you can directly sell to fans online. It's good to keep the balance, keep your music head on, but also keep your business hat on too. Try keep track of all your outgoings as well as your incomings. Because realistically, there's no point making really cool, quality merch if you keep making a loss and there's nothing else coming from it. 2021 officially marked the long-awaited return of live music. And in 2022, we've seen it's only gonna open more and more and more. So now this is great for the independent artists who really wanna tap on and into as many revenue streams as possible. And there's actually a few different revenue streams in itself that you can tap into as an independent artist or musician from playing live shows, which include ticket sales, on-the-door fees, payment from the venue owner or the promoter. And that's obviously if it's a paid show. When you're starting out as a musician, as an artist, when you perform, and a lot of the time it's going to be a free show that you'll be doing. Meaning most likely you won't get any money if you take the show from the venues or from the ticket sales. And obviously these early shows are more about getting your name out there, really understanding the stage and your stage presence, and also practicing. Some artists start and somehow they have to jump into the deep end, and some other artists take a while and it allows them to really perfect their skill set. But once you've started to establish yourself as an artist in your own right, whether you're playing as an opening act or the main headliner, you can start to charge fans for tickets to come see you play. Ticket prices will definitely vary depending on your standing as an artist, the size of the gig, the venue. But generally for unsigned acts, you're looking at anywhere between $5 to $15 or pounds per head. Just remember, although you can make a good chunk of money from playing shows or heading out on a tour, you also need to take into account all of the possible expenses against you as a live performer. Things like venue hire, deposit, catering costs, or even just promotional materials. Just make sure you do a good dig around and planning way before, and chances are you'll get some good deals. Physical music sales. In the modern music industry of 2022, income in the form of physical music sales. So that's reproduction of your tracks or albums on CDs, vinyls, or even cassette tapes. They're definitely not the same degree as they were 30 years ago. But that's not to say that physical sales aren't still a viable area of income, especially for new musicians. CDs are cheap to make and buy and very easy to reproduce. And they can be bundled up and also sold with other merch items. But to be honest, very few people actually listen to them nowadays. So depending on how you feel, what your music type, genre, and the culture of your music is, it might be better just cutting your losses with that one. But ironically, vinyl has actually seen a massive resurgence over the last decade or so. A recent study carried out by Spotify amongst music fans found out that vinyls were top merch choice. And this is across almost every genre, which kind of says a lot about the consumer buying habits nowadays. Loads of bands and musicians are getting into the action and bringing out their own vinyl runs, which definitely might be something you want to consider if it fits your image and your style. But don't forget that you can sell CDs, even cassette tapes, even vinyls at your shows, online, and also on your websites or Shopify or anything like that. And a lot of people are not doing this, but you can actually sell your physical music through e-commerce sites like Amazon. Sync deals. Everybody wants a sync deal. But what are sync deals? Making money from sync deals are also known as synchronization licensing. It's actually one of the most lucrative venue streams that an artist can tap into nowadays. Music sync is definitely a whole nother world, but if you can get your foot in the door, the possibilities are endless. Landing a music sync deal allows an artist to earn money by having their music feature on visual media. So that's movies, TV, shows, and even games. The music business who wants to utilize this music must pay the artist what is known as a flat fee. And this is just for the license to use it legally. I mean, flat fees vary and they can be quite small, but they can also be absolutely massive and can even stretch up to like £10,000 or dollars per sync placement. Plus, if you're able to get that, then you'll get continuous royalty payments on top of that. And that's for ongoing media usage or repeated broadcasts, which means one really good sync will earn you money for the rest of your life. The best way to submit for sync and increase your chances of getting a placement is by working with a music publisher. Ditto's music publishing team already have a wealth of experience when it comes to pitching artists' music, whether it be networks or video streaming services across the globe. Like I mentioned before, you'll be able to find out more about Ditto Music Publishing down below in the description. And if you want to learn more about music sync deals and how to increase your chances of landing one, we've got a whole video on that too, so make sure you go check that video out at the end of this video. Brand partnerships and sponsorships. If you've ever seen one of your favorite artists or musicians collaborating with a specific brand or product, then it's highly likely that they were involved in what's called a brand partnership or a brand sponsorship. This is basically when a musician or an artist work alongside a brand to promote the product or their service, or even whatever they're offering. And from that artist will then make money from endorsing that brand. The most common types of brands or companies that a musician or artist will partner with will be things related to the music industry. So musical instrument manufacturers, music tech, clothing lines, social media app developers, or even beauty and grooming types of products. If you decide to partner with a brand, and that's all done by associating their brand with you and your music. And a lot of the time, this will be in the form of sponsorship posts on social media, at live shows, on the brand's YouTube channel, and much more. Now, as a smaller emerging artist, it's unlikely that you'll get offers from big brands to do any kind of brand partnerships. They tend to work more so with musicians that already have an established fan base and a big following online. But that doesn't mean that you can't start sourcing your own brands to start making brand partnerships and deals and sponsorships with smaller companies. And the key is just that, to start with a small company or brand. Reach out to smaller, local, independent brands and together see what you can negotiate. It's not always necessarily going to be money. It might just be having or owning or utilizing their brand, product or service. And that'll be the beginning, at least just getting something discounted. And eventually as you grow and they grow, money might start falling into the equation anytime you negotiate again. And if you're lucky enough to work with a brand, then one of the most important things is to make sure that that brand aligns with the branding that you have for yourself as a musician. Holding on to that thing that makes you special, unique, different, and authentic as an artist is so essential. So unless your association with a certain brand strengthens and builds you as a musician, you as an authentic artist, then it's probably best to not associate yourself with something or someone or a company that's gonna not necessarily build you as an artist. You'll run the risk of compromising your authenticity as an artist and your connection with your fans. So not every branding deal is gonna be great for you, so really have a think and see if it makes sense. Crowdfunding and membership subscription services. Another great income that's become really popular for a lot of artists in recent years is the money to be made from crowdfunding and membership subscription services. If you don't already know, then crowdfunding is essentially turning your followers and your fan community into a sustainable form of funding for your music projects. Whether that's looking into buy some new music equipment, funds for releasing an album, or even creating some cover artwork. By joining an online crowdfunding service like Indiegogo, GoFundMe, or even Kickstarter, you can actually ask your fans and supporters for some monetary support with whatever your most recent project or thing is. Then that actually becomes a greater alternative than looking for a single advance from a loan or even a label. Therefore ends up being a really great alternative for all creatives and especially independent artists. Membership subscriptions are slightly different to crowdfunding. This is where you start a membership with an online subscription service that all of your fans can there be subscribers of. The most popular membership subscription service already used by a lot of artists is Patreon, which basically just allows you to raise money for big projects. And in exchange, subscribers then receive exclusive content. It could be artwork, photographs, videos, unreleased music, new music, or even music early. And this all comes through a monthly subscription fee. And it could be low as $1, £1, or as high as whatever you want it to be. For example, if you're trying to fund music equipment, it might work best on a more music-specific crowdfunding tool. A crowdfunding site like Indiegogo, for example. But if it's more for creative funds that you're looking to raise, like for an album or a song, Kickstarter would be the better option. Ongoing funding campaign for bigger projects that you might need more than just one time, then a Patreon membership subscription service will probably be best. So do some research and have a dig around and see which service will probably best suit you and what you do. Another cool way is writing for music libraries. Writing and producing music for music libraries and production companies is not only another way to make more money from your music, but it's also a really great way of building your musicality and music ability. A music library is a curated collection of music-related materials, such as musical scores and audio recordings that are usually only available for license and private use. So they're specifically made for ad agencies, even videographers, indie filmmakers, YouTube, any other type of business with a music license. When composing music for music libraries, you'll most likely be writing in a style that's a little bit out of your comfort zone, and a lot of the time, personal but not personal to you, more broadly related. And initially can feel a little bit strange to start with, but over time it really allows you to develop and create and have a unique spin on the type of music you're making. It creates a beautiful opportunity to break into territories of music that you would have never done beforehand, and also give you great opportunities to just try something different and challenge yourself as a writer and a musician. In terms of the actual money you'll make, payments through music library typically go through your PROs like PRS in the form of royalties. So it's not necessarily quick cash flow with this one, but over time, if you keep doing it, you'll be getting royalty checks again and again and again. You could be literally waiting anywhere up to a year, in fact even later than that, for the work that you've done, which is definitely worth keeping in mind if you're trying to make quick money, because this is more of the long run. But if you're good at writing music for a brief, and you're open to do something new, and you feel like you want to upskill a little bit, then writing for music libraries is going to be absolutely amazing for you. Last but definitely not least, teach what you know. Arguably a less obvious but a really useful way of making money from your music as a musician is to teach what you know. The knowledge and skill set of a musician is really unique and one of high value. And if you're a rapper, singer, composer, or even producer, people will pay good money to learn from you. It can work in the medium of online tutorials, vlogs, or even workshops. I mean, literally what I'm doing right now. Or if you're an instrumentalist, you could actually tutor people part-time in the mornings, in the evenings, or even the weekends, and you can really work on your own schedule to make some extra cash. And if you're interested in getting into teaching, there's some really useful resources online, such as the teaching directory and catalog of Music Fiber. You can sign up and create your own profile and join a huge directory of hand-picked music professionals. And these professionals will have an expertise in a number of different areas within the music industry. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's video. But just as you saw, there's honestly so much different ways that you can make a sustainable career financially as a musician, literally utilizing your music and your craft. And ultimately, this is one of the best parts about making money as an independent musician, being able to repurpose your own skill set in whichever way you choose. It's all about widening your horizon and utilizing all of your skills, the tools, and all of your resources at your disposal. So I want to say thank you for locking in and watching. On behalf of the Ditto team and myself, Vital, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single video. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace and love.